Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, university officials, faculty, staff, and students. Welcome to the Sustainability Summit on Agriculture, charting the path for sustainable agriculture in the Philippines. Today, we are holding one of the major events celebrating the 60th Universityhood of Central Luzon State University. We now gather virtually to address the significant challenges and opportunities related to sustainability in farming practices, food production, and rural development for the next 50 years. This summit serves as a fundamental platform for knowledge exchange, collaboration, and action planning, bringing together stakeholders from the agricultural sector and other key players. Our goal today is to advance sustainable agriculture and ensure the long term viability of our global food systems. To formally open our program, let us all take a moment to honor our nation with the Philippine national anthem and to follow it with an invocation, both to be led by the CLSU Maestro Singers. Thank you, CLSU Maestro Singers. Before we proceed with our program, please allow me to acknowledge the presence of our virtual attendees. We are joined today by our university officials and together with our distinguished guests and participants via Zoom and via Facebook Live, we welcome you once again in this summit. It is now my honor to introduce the esteemed president of Central Luzon State University, who will deliver the welcome remarks and introduce our keynote speaker. Dr. Evaristo A. Abella has been a guiding force in our university's mission to foster excellence in education, research, and community service. His leadership has been instrumental in our ongoing efforts to promote sustainable agricultural practices. Let us all welcome Dr. Evaristo A. Abella. A virtual applause, please.
To our keynote speaker, Honorable Nerissa Esquera, Director of NEDA3, to our panelists, Dr. Laura Yusi, CHED Region 3 Director, Dr. Wilfredo Cruz, BIPAR Region 3 Director, Dr. John De Leon, PhilRice Director, Dr. Lisa Batad, the Philippine Carabao Center Director, Dr. Dionisio Albindia, PhilMec Director, Mr. Arjan Manansala, Student Representative, Ms. Evelyn Serrano, Farmer Representative, and Mr. Joseph Pajardo, Industry Representative. To the CLSU officials, faculty, staff, and students, and other honorable guests and participants, good day to all of you. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude and appreciation of your acceptance to be present, though virtually, for the kick-off ceremony of our 60th Universityhood celebration. Alam ko pong holiday ngayon, ngunit binigyan nyo kami ng panahon upang makasama sa aming selebrasyon. Maraming salamat po. We open with the Sustainability Summit on Agriculture because it is our goal to bring about continuous improvement and information to chart our path for a sustainable agriculture for the country. One of our mandates in CLSU is to generate new knowledge and technology, which we have done a great magnitude today, but we would like to increase the ripples of our impact to reach more society and community towards nation building with all your inputs. Today, indeed, we will create new ideals for follow as we try to keep agriculture as our way of life. With that, I thank all members of the community, especially the organizers, for successfully executing this event. I hope that all our participants would be able to embrace fully all new learnings to apply and pass on to other farmers, students, and the industry. Again, thank you very much. We highly appreciate your support. May God bless us all. And I'm also tasked to introduce our keynote speaker. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you our keynote speaker for today's event. Honorable Nerissa T. Esquera has over 2 decades of experience working with government, international development organizations, research institutions, and non-government organizations. She has performed a range of functions from communication, technical research and analysis, to project coordination, monitoring and evaluation, and management leadership. Ms. Esquera is a Career Executive Service Officer, rank 3. She is Regional Director for Central Luzon at the National Economic and Development Authority, Region 3. Prior to this, she was Director 4 of NEDA Development Information Staff with 3 divisions: Public Relations, Multimedia Development, and Knowledge Management. She has been credited for strengthening NEDA's communication and stakeholders' engagement, including the successful communication and advocacy for Ambition Natin 2040. She has also been acknowledged by partners like the Asian Development Bank for initiating and seeing through the development of a knowledge management strategy for NEDA, including the establishment of a knowledge management division and initiating training on knowledge management and futures and foresight, among other initiatives. Before joining NEDA, she was Senior Program Officer, Communication and Stakeholder Relations for the Coalitions for Change program of the Asia Foundation in partnership with the Australian Aid. Prior to this, she was Operations Officer for Communication and Consultant at the World Bank Philippines Office, Coordinator of the Human Development Network, which produces the Philippine Human Development Report, and Project Coordinator of a capacity building project of the National Anti-Poverty Commission supported by the United Nations Development Program. She also worked as writer-editor, research and training staff in non-government organizations and research institutions, holding a bachelor's degree in communication and a master's degree in development economics, both from the University of the Philippines in Diliman. Ms. Isguera offers strong educational foundations, skills training, work experience, and high ethical standards to development institutions with which she shares common goals and values. Let us all welcome our keynote speaker, the Director of the NEDA Region 3, Honorable Nerissa T. Isguera.
Thank you, Mr. President Evaristo. May I be allowed to share my screen? Okay. I hope you can see my screen now. So good morning, everyone, and happy 60th year of university food to the Central Luzon State University. Thank you again, Dr. Abelia and the organizers for inviting me to be part of this sustainability summit. I know that I was invited to speak about NEDA's efforts toward sustainable development in the country, particularly in the agriculture sector. However, knowing that you are the experts and noting that my talk will be followed by a panel discussion, would have wanted to take this opportunity to listen to you more than me talking to you. Nonetheless, allow me to share some of the government's efforts towards sustainable agriculture within the overall Philippine Development Framework and the Regional Development Framework. I would also like to share a few ideas, which I should share or should say are not originally mine, and that I hope you in the academic community will be interested in and will eventually be able to translate into doable and viable solutions to the country's problems in agriculture. At the outset, let me state my key messages. First is that the Philippine Development Plan and the Central Luzon Regional Development Plan 2023 to 2028 recognize the need to enrich the agriculture sector, make food production a flourishing venture, and an avenue for reducing, if not eliminating, poverty. Various government interventions are now in place to address the challenges in the sector. But the challenge is to determine those that will create the most impact with limited resources. And state universities and colleges like CLSU can expand the role from R&D or research and development to monitoring and evaluation to allow for timely corrections where desired results are not seen and or scaling up when potentials are being realized. So allow me to start with the end in mind, our long-term vision, which we called Ambition Natin 2014. Ambition Natin, our vision, our ambition, is a 25-year vision based on Filipinos' aspirations generated from a national survey done in 2015 to 2016 And the slide is our simplest summation of the life we want. Matatag, maginhawa, at panatag na buhay para sa lahat. And this has been our guide for development planning since the 2017 to 2022 Philippine Development Plan. And back then, it was obvious that there were sectors that have direct impact on people's aspirations. And agriculture has been one of the priority sectors, which will have impact on our desire for all Filipinos to be free from hunger and poverty. Let me also share with you our planning parameters. Alam po natin na pinanggalingan natin noong pagpasok ng current administration ay dumaan tayo sa matinding dagok, which is the pandemic. And the PDP 2023 to 2028 takes into consideration the experiences and lessons learned from previous plans, especially the most recent one, and the lessons learned from the pandemic. We also are considering expected global and regional trends na nararamdaman pa po natin ngayon. And of course, we remain committed to the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals and ambition natin 2040 or our long-term vision. And needless to say, we are incorporating the 8-point socio-economic agenda of the President Marcos. So this is the Central Luzon Regional Development Plan framework. Let me highlight on the green part that our vision for Central Luzon is a vibrant agri-industrial heartland and global gateway supported by balanced ecosystems where people enjoy a comfortable quality of life. So very obvious po, agri-industrial and therefore really the agriculture sector is very relevant and important to our region. The CLRDP aims for economic transformation, and it addresses both short-term challenges arising from the social and economic impact of the pandemic, which are red parts in that framework, and as well as the medium to long-term development challenges. And again, our vision remains na matatag, maginhawa at panatag na buhay, and this will require really transforming our production sectors. Let me just zoom in on the agriculture sector, which contributes to two major strategies. And the first is focus on individuals and families, knowing that we are just recovering from the impact of the pandemic and that there remain risks and challenges such as inflation and climate change. The aim really is to reduce vulnerability and protect people's purchasing power dahil po mataas pa rin yung mga presyo ng mga bilihin. And the aim is to, and this will entail ensuring food security and proper nutrition even when the economy has to close again. Hindi po natin malalaman kung kailan darating yung susunod na pandemya at kung darating ito. And the second is geared towards the economic transformation by modernizing agriculture and agribusiness so as to create more and better opportunities, especially for farmers, and at the same time produce competitive agri-based products. And zooming in on food security among Filipinos, we need to have sufficient and stable supply of food commodities. And to do this, we need to boost productivity and resiliency, facilitate markets, and reduce and prevent food waste. And to generate quality jobs and produce competitive products, we need to modernize agriculture and agribusiness through greater production efficiency, expansion of access to markets, improve resilience of the value chain, and strengthen agricultural institutions. In this slide, you will see the more specific strategies, but I will not discuss them in details, and I invite you really to download the full CLRDP from our website. And these strategies necessarily have to be translated into an investment program and projects. Again, I will not go into detail, but let me mention some of these projects. So, NEDA, the Department of Agriculture, BFAR, PCA, DAR, and the DRDC3 Full Council push for the development and implementation of strategic initiatives that will help modernize the agriculture and agribusiness sector and strengthen agricultural institutions in the region. So some of these projects are the following. The Philippine Rural Development Program Scale Up, which aims to address gaps in the value chains, level up approaches and innovations, and improve climate resilience. And actually, part of this PRDP is a proposed 255.99 million onion code storage. We also have the Fish Corps, the Philippine Fisheries and Coastal Resiliency Project, intended for 4 provinces in Central Luzon. And we have the Pang-Agraryong Tulay para sa bagong bayanihan ng mga magsasaka or PBBM Bridges Project, involving 34 permanent bridges to benefit at least 38,330 agrarian reform beneficiaries and about 191,650 households in the region. And then we have the Central Luzon Integrated Agricultural and Soils Laboratory, the Extension Support Education and Trainings, and for 2025, the National Irrigation Administration proposed 39.55 billion budget for irrigation, while the PCA proposed 35.21 million budget for coconut production. So these are just some of the government's programs and projects, and I am aware that SUCs like CLSU have been doing a lot in R&D and in extension services for farmers. Now, by way of identifying where to focus our efforts, our plan is comprehensive, but we really, given limited resources, we really need to have to identify where to focus. So let me just share with you some notes from an essay of Prabhu Pingali. Are there lessons from the Green Revolution relevant for agricultural growth and food security in the 21st century? So Pingali notes the Green Revolution brought significant increases in agricultural productivity during the mid-20th century, particularly in Asia and Latin America. However, it also faced several limitations. First is environmental impact. So the author says that the intensive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides led to soil degradation, water pollution, and reduced biodiversity. The second is social inequality. The author said that the benefits of the Green Revolution were not evenly distributed. Large landowners often reap the most gains, while smallholders and tenant farmers benefited less. And the next is nutritional outcomes. The focus on staple grains like wheat and rice sometimes came at the expense of more nutritionally diverse crops, leading to concerns about diet quality. And finally, sustainability concerns. The high-yielding varieties of crops often required more water, which raised questions about long-term sustainability in water-scarce regions. And so learning from the first Green Revolution, the author suggests that a second Green Revolution can be about inclusive growth, environmental stewardship, nutritional security, innovation and technology, climate change adaptation, and market access. So first, policy should aim to support smallholder farmers to ensure that productivity gains lead to broad-based improvements in rural livelihoods. Napaka-importante po ito para dahil ang hangarin po natin ay matatag, maginhawa at panatag na buhay para sa lahat, hindi lang po ng kokonti. And then next is future agricultural practices must prioritize environmental health, including soil conservation, water management, and biodiversity protection. And also, diversifying crop production to include a variety of grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables can improve nutritional outcomes. May nabasa po akong report, or actually upcoming pa na World Bank report, na napakababa po talaga ng nutrition outcomes ng Pilipinas. Mataas po yung malnutrition rates or undernutrition rates ng ating bansa, especially among children. Now, innovation and technology, embracing new technologies such as precision agriculture, biotechnology, and information technology can help address productivity and sustainability challenges. Importante po ito dahil alam po ninyo na dahil sa development na nangyayari, kahit po pigilan natin, napaka challenging po na mabalanse yung need for housing, need for development, need for infrastructure. And so we really need to make optimal use of our scarce resources, especially land. So kahit po kukunti yung land, I hope, we are hoping that there will be innovation and technology to address these challenges. And then of course, climate change adaptation. Developing crop varieties that are resilient to climate change impacts is essential for food security. And finally, market access. Improving market access for farmers can help them get better prices for their produce and encourage investment in productivity investments, improvements. These considerations reflect a holistic approach to agricultural development that learns from past experiences while looking forward to addressing contemporary challenges. And it's about balancing productivity with sustainability and equity to ensure that progress in agriculture benefits all stakeholders and preserves resources for future generations. And given the myriad challenges in the agriculture sector, research and development will remain crucial. It will be important to constantly research on what can possibly address these challenges and constraints to sustainable and inclusive agriculture. To be sure, the ideas on the 21st century agriculture, on the second green revolution earlier mentioned, may already be in the PDP and the RDP. But the question is, to what extent are these translated into well-designed programs and projects? And to what extent are programs and projects achieving their intended outcomes? Are we getting the most out of the resources we're spending through all these years? This brings me to my final message, which is the need for monitoring and evaluation, and with it, the need to develop human capital. Human capital is the set of knowledge, skills, and experience acquired throughout one's life. And we in NEDA actually produce the national and regional development reports annually and every midterm. And these are based on agency submissions. But it will be really good to see more independent assessments and more rigorous evaluations from academic and research institutions like SUCs. NEDA actually had a joint circular with DBM on monitoring and evaluation, but we find that agencies lack the capacity for M&E. And so last year, NEDA initiated an impact evaluation capacity building program with hands-on impact evaluation studies in partnership with SUCs. We are really hoping that this will be sustained and expanded. And needless to say, this forms part of building up human capital. So in closing, let me just say again that I would have wanted to listen and learn from you instead of talking here. And nonetheless, I hope I have given you enough food for thought. I trust that you will be able to expound on these and eventually translate them again into doable and viable solutions to the country's problems in agriculture. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nerissa Diaz Guerra, for that insightful keynote message. And thank you for sharing with us, of course, the efforts of the National Economic and Development Authority towards sustainable agriculture development. So we do know that your perspectives, have certainly set the tone for our summit's panel discussion. So at this point, we would like to present a plaque of appreciation to our keynote speaker. So allow me to read the citation. This plaque of appreciation is presented to Director Nerissa T. Esguera, Regional Director, NEDA Regional Office 3, for serving as the keynote speaker during the Sustainability Summit with the theme Charting the Path for Sustainable Agriculture in the Philippines, held in celebration of the CLSU's 60 years of universityhood, given the 17th day of June 2024 at the Central Luzon State University, Science City of Muñoz, Nueva Ecija. Signed, Dr. Evaristo A. Abella, University President. With this, may I request the technical team to facilitate the photo opportunity together with our keynote speaker. Thank you very much, madam. So we'll be taking a photo. All right. Okay, please hold your smiles. We will be taking a photo in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you so much once again. How about a virtual clap for Director Nerissa T. Esguerra?
Thank you so much.
And now to provide a delightful interlude, let us have an intermission number by the talented CLSU Maestro Singers. Let us take a moment to enjoy their performance.
Return to a land called Paraíso, a place where a dying river ends. No birds dare fly over Paraíso, no space allows them to endure the smoke that screens the air, the grass that's never there. And if I could see a single bird, what a joy. I try to write some words and create a single song to be heard by the rest of the world.
I live in a land called Paraíso, in a house made of cardboard floors and walls. I learned to be free in Paraíso, free to claim anything I see. Matching rags for my clothes, plastic bags for the cold, and if empty cans were all I have, what a joy. I never tried to take someone else's coins and live in fear like the rest of the boys. Help me make a stand. Take me by the hand. When the world is done, and if I could see a single bird, what a joy is dying hope, where land lies stands of truth and harvested from the rest of the Return to a land called Paraíso, a place where a dying river ends. No birds dare fly over Paraíso, no space allows them to endure the smoke that screens the air, the grass that's never there. And if empty cans were all I have, what a joy. I never tried to take someone else's voice and live in fear like the rest of the boys. Help me make a stand.
Thank you very much, CLSU Master Singers. Thank you once again, CLSU Master Singers, for such a moving and meaningful performance. It reminds us that we indeed live in a paraiso rich in culture and resources, which makes our endeavors today all the more relevant and timely. We now move on to a critical part of our summit, the panel discussion. This session will be moderated by Dr. Franz Mariel Nogoy Garcia. Dr. Nogi Garcia is a faculty member of the Department of Crop Science, College of Agriculture, and is a researcher from the University Research Program Office. Her research involvement in CLSU started in hybrid rice, followed by a breeding program in special purpose rice and smart farming with tomato and hot pepper production. She is also adding cassava and onion in her research portfolio. Her research expertise involves molecular approaches that involves crops to make valuable contributions to the Filipino farmers and the agricultural industry. Please welcome Dr. Franz Mariel Nogoy Garcia. A virtual applause, please.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Kim. So as Ms. Kim have said, we are now moving forward to the second part of the summit, the panel discussion. Let me read the mechanics of the panel discussion. First, there will be two batches of panelists. The first batch is composed of the directors from R&D centers, namely BIFAR, PhilRice, PCC, and PhilMec, and including the director of CHED Region 3. The second batch is composed of 4 representatives from the students, farmers, and the industry. Second, each batch of panelists will be asked with 2 questions. The first question will be answered one by each panelist. The panelist is given only a minute to respond. The moderator will cue the next panelist to answer after the time is up. Once all panelists have given their answer, the second question will be read, then the panelists will answer again one by one. And after the first batch of panelists, the second batch will be called and shall answer the same way but with a different set of questions. So let us begin with our first batch of panelists. First off, we have BIFAR Director, Dr. Wilfredo M. Cruz. Let me call on or let me know if he's already in Zoom. Followed by the PhilRice Director, Dr. John De Leon. The Philippine Carabao Center Director, Dr. Liza Batad. The Assistant Director of PhilMec, Dr. Nelson Santiago. And CHED Region 3 Director, Dr. Laura Yusi. All right. So let me start with the first question for the first batch of our panelists. What are your thoughts after hearing the presentation of Director Nerissa Esguera? The first question for our first batch is, what are your thoughts after hearing the presentation of Director Nerissa? Let us now give the floor to PhilRice Director, Dr. John De Leon, please.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Doc Fritz. Unang-una siguro, wag niyo munang isama sa time ng 1 minute. Allow me to congratulate CLSU for your tremendous milestone. Dr. Evaristo Abella, to all officials and faculty members and staff and students of CLSU for your 60 years of universityhood, sir. Congratulations po ulit. At natutuwa din ako to note na merong continuity, at least sa nakikita ko po sa programs ng CLSU and of course yung ating mga SUCs with, for example, yung programs din natin ng DA, even dito sa mga kapitbahay nyo ng mga national government agencies that I think reflect on really an improved student curriculum para sa agriculture, including yung mga practicum nila that prepares them really to a meaningful and really a productive preparation for eventual employment sa ating agriculture sector. So congratulations po ulit. And of course, to our keynote speaker, to our director, NEDA director here in the region, Director Nerissa Esguera, congratulations po. Now to my 1 minute, Of course, as a GOCC attached to the DA, we also agree to all na sinabi ng ating mahal na director. Hindi lamang po sa namin sinusuportahan yung mga sinabi niya. Ina-actionan din po namin according to our agency mandates at kakayahan. At ang PhilRice po ay isang research for development na agency. Of course, yung mga binanggit ni Director tungkol sa food production as a flourishing venture, hindi lamang po yun. Habang tumatagal, lalong nagiging matindi ang challenge. The need to produce more food that are more nutritious, and considering less resources to begin with in the first place. Siguro ang pwede kong maidagdag siguro yung merong binabanggit doon sa recent report din, 2023 or 24 din yun, ng Sustainable Agriculture Asia. And ang impression ko doon, siguro mahalaga yung walang silos. Kasi yung binabanggit din nila doon, yung hindi lamang yung pagtutulungan ng mga nasa public, kundi pati yung sa private. They can work together in this space of promoting sustainability. Kaya binabanggit nila doon yung, and I think we need also to consider that we need to think beyond yung Philippines lang, dahil there are more than 1 billion people in the Asia-Pacific region working in agriculture. And so hindi lamang yung per se talking about sustainability of agriculture for the Philippines, pero yung paano ba ito magiging equitable or relevant sa lahat, kung hindi dun sa lahat ng 1 billion na yon, at least sa marami na yon. At kung sa Philippines lang, kung rice farmers lang, 2.5 to 2.8 million ang pinag-uusapan natin na farmers. So, at hindi lang mga rice farmers ang concerned, even our fisher folks. Meron tayong representative to reply also to this later. Another is the need for continuously improving, at dito malaki ang kinalaman din namin yung ating mga smallholder farmers, either through the particular commodity or yung integrated farming practices nila. And natutuwa kami, meron din po kaming mga initiatives around yung binabanggit din ni Ma'am in the context of treating farming as a business, yung agripreneurialship know-how to improve yung value chain efficiency din ng ating mga producers. And then of course yung digitalization in farmer education, at mahalaga po sa usapin din natin yung healthier soils na ina-advocate din ng ating Department of Agriculture and PhilRice and other agencies na sa mga bagong konsepto, actually not really new but promoted in a better way yung regenerative farming for higher margins. So siguro yun lang po muna from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc John. For the technicals, may I request your assistance to kindly make me a co-host so I can unmute myself anytime. Thank you. All right, let us call our second panelist for the first batch, Dr. Elizabeth Tad from Philippine Carabao Center.
Okay, isang masaganang Pilipinas po sa ating lahat. And at the same time, gaya po ni Doc Jan, let me congratulate si LSU for its 60th universityhood. And at the same time, isa pong malugod na pagbati sa buong si LSU citizenship o citizenry, no? Sa investiture po bukas ng ating mahal na president, the 11th si LSU president po, Dr. Avelia. So let me share with you my thoughts, no, and at the same time my appreciation to Ma'am Nerissa Esguera for sharing with us, and at the same time re-echoing yung ating concerns, no, relative to sustaining pathways to agricultural development. So whenever experts gather to talk about the future of agriculture, the one topic that comes up more than any other is sustainability. How can farmers ramp up production enough in the next 30 years to meet food, fuel, and fiber needs of the now 117.3 million Filipinos, while maintaining or even improving the environmental resource base on which we and the future generation really depend, no? So let me approach this perennial issue as a community development practitioner and at the same time with good experience in agribusiness management. Sustainable development broadens the management challenge. It is not about compromise, but about integrating economic, environmental, and social factors for long-term benefit. Palagi ko po itong binabanggit every time may Monday start of meeting po kami sa PCC that we have to be able to make simple statements, no? But not necessarily simplifying issues. Let me capture the enormity of the topic or enormity of the challenge that the whole of government must face as we integrate these concepts into our business as usual processes. Although the idea initially is liberating, no, dahil charting sustainability in agricultural development, it blends the three key aspects of business, economics, environment, and society. Let us acknowledge that there may be good challenge to establish the boundaries for the effort and to chart progress. I must say, we have to focus on our efforts and track our performance. If we don't, we simply decide to scatter our resources in so many places that we make little progress and cannot make big changes in important areas. Gusto ko pong tukuyin dito yung investment ng gobyerno sa ahensyang pinamumunuan ko, the Philippine Carabao Center. Across the years, 31 years na po kami, hindi po umaangat talaga sa 500 million ang pondo ng PCC, no? Salamat sa mga patrons and donors. We are given good budget insertions, no, for the last 4 years. However, let me also inform that PCC's 22 years in ISO 9001 certification, no, gaya po ng PhilRice, ang PCC po ay may 3 ISO standards, no. Dito po namin gustong ipakita sa buong Pilipinas na yung international compliance namin sa standards, no, 9001, 14001, and the 41001 is simply our commitment to convey and prove consistency and competence to address sustainability across the value chain and promote entrepreneurship. Sa amin po, ang tawag po namin, Carapreneurship, for the overall promotion of the general socio-economic well-being of rural farming families through the Carabao. So, gusto po namin i-emphasize yung improve family nutrition, increasing incomes, and improve household politics and job generation. For the case of PCC, we measure our combined felt effect by way of the following, no, yung economic sustainability of production and market support services by way of building the business confidence and credit conscience po ng mga carapreneurs. Iniisip po natin to palagi na parang andali, no? Pero gusto po naming sabihin, pwede siyang mangyari through innovative platforms at Kagaya po ng PhilRice at yung mga kapitbahay po ng CLSU, we really engage in innovative ICT feed-forward applications to reach out and be able to address and measure productivity and profitability amongst family farming business owners, cooperatives, institutional farms, and at the same time, processing and marketing outlets. The viable operations of Milka Creme for the last 15 years is simply a proof that PCC really is fully engaged in profitability and productivity. So it also conveys the full value chain system na tinulungan po tayo ng ating mga partners na to make happen, no? So the dairy box is also a business model that is going to be felt across 100 tourist destination in the country. And at the same time, marami pong business models kagaya po ng mga kapitbahay na agency ng CLSU ang sama-samang tumutulong to prove that business traction when measured is spelled progress. Also on social sustainability, marami po tayong frontline champions na competent cadre of professionals that provides extension and advisory services. Of course, the technology innovations through R4D processes support sustainability. Artificial insemination is one biotechnique that has been massively commercialized that bring forth at least 50,000 genetically improved buffaloes and at the same time upscale yung dairy buffalo herd. Naturally,
Ma'am? Hello, ma'am. Sorry to cut you po. We appreciate your answer po, but you will have another time slot po to answer or present the PCC efforts on sustaining agriculture in the country. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your answer, for your very generous answer. I have seen in our Zoom platform, Dr. Wilfredo Cruz. May I call on Dr. Wilfredo Cruz to answer our first question regarding his response to the Director Nerisa's keynote speech. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Sorry, mobile ako, but I will try my best to answer regarding the concerns of the sector. Yes, ma'am. So, may I know the ng aking ng signal? Yes, ma'am. Am I heard, ma'am?
Yes, sir. We can hear you po.
Po. Sige po. Yes, good morning po sa lahat. Sa organizer, of course, sa mga co-panelists na nandito. So, regarding VFAR po, of course, we have a lot of programs being implemented. Was focused on addressing the problems, particularly on fish production. So we have programs on aquaculture, and of course in addressing the IUU and compliance also to the programs of our secretary on digitization and modernization. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for your very comprehensive answer. Now, let me call on our Assistant Director for PhilMec, Dr. Nelson Santiago.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. So, first of all, I would like to congratulate the Central Luzon State University, my alma mater. So, graduate po ako ng BS in Agriculture, MS in Biology, and PhD in Crop Science. Lahat po sa CLSU. Again, congratulations, CLSU. For my thoughts, presentation ni Director Nerissa Isguera. Agree po ako doon lahat. Will support lahat po yung sinasabi niya. Our agenda, PhilMec agenda and strategic trust is in line with sa sinasabi niya. Because the Philippine Center for Post-Harvest Development and Mechanization implements programs and projects under the research and development and the extension support, education, and training services. Cluster headed by a cluster director. Both cluster directors see to it that yung programs, projects are aligned to the priority programs of the Department of Agriculture and the priority agenda of the PhilMec. For our strategic class, so ito po yung mga naka-line yung aming ginagawa sa R&D, efficient drying and dehydration for increased farm productivity, appropriate handling, storage, and processing techniques for increased economic value, effective prevention and control of mycotoxins, pests, and diseases toward food safety and preservation, agricultural waste and byproduct utilization for added value and environment protection. Likewise, appropriate production and post-production mechanization technologies for increased resource use efficiency and productivity, and empowered stakeholders toward profitable entrepreneurship. So aside from this, we have also support yung effect of the climate change impact. So various measures can be done, and the PhilMec of the Department of Agriculture is doing its part in mitigating and adapting to climate change impact. So PhilMec designs, develop, and extend appropriate post-harvest facilities to mitigate po yung ating climate change. So aside from the R&D, ngayon kasi ang PhilMec is kilala na for the distribution of agricultural machineries in support sa program po ng Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Program. So various agricultural machineries po ay na-distribute na for the past 5 years. So last year na po ito ng RCEP, and hopefully ma-extend pa po ito. And for our coconut farmers, nag-start din po kami mag-identify ng mga cooperative, and nag-identify na din po kami ng mga equipment that pwedeng ibigay po sa kanila in support po sa shared processing facilities ng mga coconut farmers. So yun lang po, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc Santiago. And last but not the least for this question, the representative from the academe, our CHED Region 3 Director, Dr. Laura Yusi, please. Once again, I'm giving the floor for response of Dr. Laura Yusi. All right. If she's not yet here, maybe I can post on the second question for our first batch of panelists. The same order will be followed for this second question. So the second question for our first batch of panelists is, how can collaboration among stakeholders improve the adoption of sustainable farming methods? The second question is, how can collaboration among stakeholders improve the adoption of sustainable farming methods? So let me call on again Dr. from PhilRice, Dr. John De Leon, please.
Yeah, thank you. So partly na-address ko na yan kanina din, but let me add a few more thoughts. Personally, sometimes I'm afraid that the path to sustainable agri will really hardly go beyond theories or methods or hard to apply policies or mindsets. For example, on the latter, sabi ni Ma'am kanina, ang ating keynote speaker, she would defer sa mga agriculturists na nandito, part ng panel, part ng audience natin. But I think napakahalaga, ma'am, ng inyong role din. Kasi, for example, pag-uusapan natin yung, of course, how do we collaborate with each other? Sabi ko nga kanina, hindi lamang yung agencies within the government, pero matagal na rin nating alam din yung benefits of public-private partnership. Pero ang tanong din, ma'am, kasi for economic managers like you, sa NEDA, sa DBM, of course, yung do we really put our funds where our mouths are? Na minsan na i-involve din ako sa mga usapin ng budget. Minsan sasabihin doon, napakalaki ng funds ng rice relative to other commodities in agriculture. Tapos ang solusyon, di bawasan natin yung funds ng rice para i-distribute sa ibang commodities. Sometimes yung ganun na kaisipan, pinag-iisipan ba talaga natin yung ganun? Kasi if you take away, for example, tutuhanin natin yun, asan kaya tayo makakarating pagdating sa final analysis? So yung mga ganun po, ma'am. And of course, there's another report that was that I saw na I think relevant din sa atin kasi we need to also see how others are looking at the same thing, but from possibly a different lens. So dun po sa MDPI journal, they have a journal, yung agriculture. I think it's in the March 2024 issue. Binabanggit din po dun yung yung extensive degree of the consumption of resources and energy by industrial agriculture. Kaya nagkaroon ngayon ng awareness of sustainable agriculture development that promote yung binabalik yung multifunctionality ng agriculture ecosystem. Of course, when we are in agriculture for a long time, alam natin na hindi naman ito really bagong concept. But of course, when you look at it from a perspective ng parang sequential lang na timeline, we used to have a lot of agricultural land, we used to have a lot of resources for doing agriculture. Pero nakarating tayo sa sitwasyon na to na parang na-reduce na yung mga resources na yon. And then now we face also yung bagay pa ng climate change. So itong mga to, they really complicate the idea of collaborating. Lalo na kung kanina nga binabanggit ko, kung may mga silos pa in the context of collaboration. So if we can eliminate the context of silos, then we can really work together. And in a system dynamic perspective, dun sa binanggit ko po na agriculture, of course, they reiterated yung it is possible for smallholder farmers and large-scale farming to work together. At tayo din, alam naman na natin yun, hindi naman bago sa atin po yung konsepto ng big farmer, small farmer na partnership. Pero siguro, ang tanong talaga sa atin, sa context ng Philippine agriculture, paano ba yun mangyayari? Na talagang magtutulungan, mag-aalalahanan yung malaking farmer at saka yung mga smallholder. Sa ganang programa ng DA, for example po sa rice, yung ating Sagana Rice Industry Development Program, ang isang concept na pinapalawig, again, it's not new, but it's something that we are pushing for more seriously, is yung clustering. So that our small farmers, when they come together, they will have really a better chance of getting better deals, not only for their farming, but for example, for their inputs. And when they have their produce, better deals in getting more profit from what they have produced. And yung mga ganun po na kaisipan. So, I think, naalala ko lang yung sa lahat ng ito, yung sinabi ko nga na minsan, can we really go beyond yung academic discourse? Minsan sabi nung aming isang senior consultant, sa Ilocano nga lang, pero siguro si ma'am ay nakakaintindi ng Ilocano, arami di pakakitaan, palagi po yung sinasabi. So sometimes we can talk a lot of things, minsan ganun din tayo bilang mga tao. Mas gusto nating nag-argue sa isa't isa rather than coming together and working, really collaborating to solve so many problems in agriculture. I think that's 1 minute, masaganang bagong Pilipinas po sa ating lahat. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc John. It's been spurring thoughts already. And we're really having a post and the challenge to do all these thoughts. Let me call back Dr. Lisa Batad for her response on the second question. Welcome back, ma'am.
Okay. Tama po, no? Aramid te pakakitaan, no? Ibig sabihin, your performance will speak for you, no? At doon sana tayo husgahan, no, sa larangan ng paggawa and address agricultural charting, agricultural sustainability. So babalik po ako doon sa statement ko kanina that we have to refine the manner by or redefine the manner by which we do and perform our roles, no? It's no longer business as usual. With climate change, tama po si Doc Jan, no? It becomes more complicated. And how do we collaborate to bring about a more cohesive approach to agricultural sustainability? Tama po, no? We have to work together, pero gaano ba siya kasimple gawin? So, alam nating pare-pareho na may international collaboration, pero I think the most important is yung dito sa lokal at sa bürokrasya para po sa mga LGUs, sana unified talaga yung effort. And at the same time, doon sa backdraft ng Ambition 2040 na diniscuss din sa atin ni Ma'am Esguera. Napaka-importante po na sabi din po niya, sana ma-intensify yung monitoring and evaluation. Nasaan po ba talaga tayo doon sa aspetong yon? Pero palagay ko sa lahat po ng ahensya na meron sa Nueva Ecija that perform national development function, no, kasama ang CLSU. Palagay ko po kami ay talagang tumutulong at ina-address, nakikita yung contribution sa manner by which farming communities are more resilient now, no, at nag-improve po yung income doon sa mga communities na minandato kami para pagsilbihan. So, gusto ko pong i-emphasize, no, it cannot be business as usual as a national government agency as we deal with our industries, no, no matter in what form or sizes po ng ahensya ng gobyerno, gusto po talaga naming tumulong, no, sa sustainability. And wanting to really bring good felt effect sa industriya, sa rice industry, sa livestock industry, and at the same time, yung effect po ng mechanization, we are wanting to grow and thrive in an evolving Philippines, isang bagong Pilipinas at maunlad na bansa sa ating lahat po. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Now let me call on Dr. Wilfredo M. Cruz. Sir, I hope you're still there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
For fisher, of course, across the country, iba-iba kasi ang nagiging problema. And Region 3 has become the frontliner pagdating sa aquaculture production. We are number 1 in tilapia, in shrimp, in perch fishes, and mud crab. So our really problem really on the fisheries is yung pagdating sa sa aquaculture, yung lack of quality fingerlings, which I guess naman it's being addressed by the SCUs in terms of genetic perspective. Then we have this high cost of inputs na we fear na kung talagang hindi talaga matuloy-tuloy ang pagtaas ng inputs ay magkakaproblema tayo eventually in terms na marami ng titigil sa pag-aalaga. And of course, yung ating sa marketing, malaki po ito. Nakikita ko, napanggit po ni Sir John kanina. So really, ang mga maliliit nating mga farmers, though we are already doing clustering and initiated some matching and sa ngayon po, medyo maganda yung interaction pagdating ng mga big tsaka small players natin in Region 3. But po nagiging pinapasok na rin ng mga alat. So for aquaculture maganda siya yung development. For rice negative siya, no? So we have a lot of programs now, even on post harvest kailangan nating ma-address for fisheries. In terms of sustainability, yun po. Hopefully, with our programs, we can sustainably, of course, continue our sustainability programs para ma-address yung ating problem on food sufficiency, particular on fish sufficiency. Thank you po.
Thank you, sir, for your response. Keep safe. I think you're moving po, yes, sir. I hope you will stay tuned with us, sir. Let me now call on Dr. Nelson C. Santiago, please, again.
Okay, good morning ulit sa ating lahat. So, as for PhilMec thoughts, how collaboration among stakeholder promote yung sustainability. So, we at PhilMec, so yung aming mga results ng research or during conduct of research is in partnership na with our stakeholders. Since yung collaboration among stakeholder is another way of talking about yung ating engagement, community engagement, and public participation, particularly in conduct of research and then yung research adaptation. And then to enhance yung capability ng agriculture and fishery beneficiaries, ito yung results na ng aming project, is engaging into viable agricultural mechanization. So ito yung pinopromote namin, and post-harvest technology-based enterprises for national food security and farmers and fisher folks prosperity. So ito kasi yung palaging end line ng ating pag-conduct ng research is to ma-adapt yung ating mga technologies sa ating mga stakeholders. So sa amin po, the farmers. So collaboration po sa kanila is very important para ma-sustain po natin yung kung ano yung nakikita natin na mga needs pa nila. So yun lang po, Integrals.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. So that wraps up our first batch of panelists. Now, we're moving to our second batch of panelists, which are our students, farmers, and industry representatives. For the second batch, let me introduce them first. We have Mr. Joseph Arlancy Fajardo, the business unit head of Tao Food Corporations. We have Miss Evelyn B. Serrano, the farmer cooperator of CLSU Technology Village. We have Miss Danica Grace Claudio, BS Agriculture student, and Mr. Rigel Gomez, the president of Bauer Tech Pharmaceuticals. I hope you are all ready. So it was a good discussion for our first batch. Let's see our second batch. For the first question for our second batch, for the body that you are representing, what difficulties do you encounter when trying to achieve sustainable farming? So again, the first question for our second batch is, for the body that you represent, what difficulties do you encounter when trying to achieve sustainable farming? So the first one to answer is Mr. Joseph Arlen Fajardo. Kindly assist Sir Fajardo to unmute himself, please.
Okay. Hello. Can I be heard now? Okay. So good morning. First of all, I like to thank the university for inviting me in this discussion, and let me congratulate the university for its 60th universityhood anniversary, especially President and Dr. Abella. And I also would like to thank and congratulate our keynote speaker, Dr. Esguerra, for a very insightful message. Okay, to answer the question, what are the difficulties that we're encountering in terms of sustainability of rice farming? So I'm representing hybrid rice seed production in the locally. So first and foremost is the climate change. So really, the unpredictable weather patterns are affecting our productions in a big way. Currently, we have this El Nino. Now we have La Nina, but we have this now popularly known as the shear line, which I guess before we used to refer to it a different term. So that's really very challenging to us. Second, still on the need for infrastructure. So specifically on the irrigation, access roads, transport system, post-harvest facilities, and one thing that really strikes me is about yung forecasting, climate forecasting technology. I guess we need a lot more advanced technology on that. And then thirdly is the economic viability for investment. Now, as private sector, we would want to see a level playing field, and a competitive environment conducive for us to invest more. We see the value of the private sector actively participating in this endeavor, as we have seen and we may have witnessed, and we can benchmark other countries, other developed countries. We would like to see policy legislation for equal opportunity, the support for local production, and then perhaps incentives over subsidies, and then access to financing and maybe the crop insurance. So among all those things that we would want to be addressed. So I think that's all on my part. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Joseph. For our second response, let me call our farmer representative, Ms. Evelyn Serrano.
Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Ang hirap ng pinapagawa niyong magsalita ng 1 minuto. Hindi ko alam kung paano ko sisimulan at dahil ang dami mong gusto sabihin, lalo na pag pinag-usapan yung mga problema ng mga magsasaka. Maraming salamat sa mga nag-input, yung ating keynote speaker at saka yung officers ng CLSU kasi sila yung nag-organize nito. Maraming salamat. Salamat doon sa mga sumunod din nag-input kasi nadagdagan yung mga kaalaman natin tungkol dito sa issue na to. Pero if you're coming from the ground, ang hirap pag-usapan yung usapin ng sustainability. Talaga totoo kasi pag nandun ka sa baba, kasama mo kahalubilo yung mga magsasaka. Ang hirap kasi yung mga dati pang problema na kinakaharap, andyan pa din. Hindi naman nawawala. Halimbawa, yung mga taas ng presyo ng mga ginagamit sa pagsasaka, hindi lang siya mataas, pataas pa ng pataas. Tapos yung taas ng presyo ng pagkain na araw-araw talaga, ginagrapol ng magsasaka yung susunod nilang pagkain nila bukas, yung mga ganun. Ganun ka-primary yung mga problema. At yung isa pang kinakaharap na problema, yung pagpasok ng mga imported na pagkain. Kasi hindi lang to nagpapahina dun sa kapasidad ng mga local producers natin, kundi talagang ang resulta nitong mga 3 problemang sinabi ko, hindi lang kawalan o kabawasan ng kita nila, kundi yung nararamdaman natin na nababawasan yung kanilang kakayahan, yung kanilang yung mood nila no na bilang magsasaka, yung moral bilang mga magsasaka na talagang bumabagsak dahil nakikita nila yung hindi nila kakayanin yung mga dumadating pang paghamon dito sa pagsasaka sa lokal. Kaya yung resulta nito, marami sa magsasaka natin, naghahanap talaga ng ibang pagkakakitaan. Umaalis dun sa pagsasaka, pumapasok sa mga construction, nag-a-apply sa abroad na mga fruit pickers at bilang magsasaka din. At lahat ng mapagkakakitaan, lalo na yung mga magsasakang may pamilya at may mga pinag-aaral na mga anak. Kasi yun yung kanilang prioridad sa panahong ito ng kanilang pagsasaka. Pero sa totoo lang, hindi nakakagampan yung pagsasaka doon sa mga pangangailangan nila. Kaya kailangan nilang humanap ng ibang pagkakakitaan. At ang higit pang seryosong impact nito, ang nagiging resulta ay hindi lang sa pagkawala ng income o pagkabawas, kundi yung pagkawala ng gana at pagbaba ng moral ng mga magsasaka na kung saan nai-imagine ba natin na yung henerasyon ngayon na magsasaka ay yung mga katulad na may edad na, tapos kaya sila nagpupumilit na pag-aralin yung mga anak nila para nang sa ganon hindi sila maging magsasaka at hindi nila sundin yung paghihirap na dinaanan ng mga mas nakatatanda sa kanila. Kaya may nakikita ba tayong bagong henerasyon? Siguro yung mga kabataan ngayon, hindi sila mag-aambisyon na maging magsasaka sa hinaharap. Kaya sila nag-aaral. Gusto nilang iangat yung kanilang mga kabuhayan, yung kanilang sitwasyon na kung saan dumadating din sa puntong nawawala ng pag-asa sa hinaharap. Kaya yung sinasabi ni Ma'am Nerissa na matatag, maginhawa, panatag na buhay bilang ambisyon sa 2014, parang yung pakiramdam mo pag galing ka sa baba, ang layo-layo at parang pangarap. Nandun sa level ng pangarap at hindi kayang mapuntahan given yung realities ng situation nila ngayon na talagang baon lang ng kanilang anak sa susunod na araw ay pinoproblema nila talaga. Kaya siguro yung hamon sa atin, sa mga realidad na ito, paano ba natin magagampanan yung ating role bilang magsasaka kung ang sitwasyon ay hindi mababago? At sa tingin ko, nasa level ng policy making yung mga pagbabago. At kung makikita ninyo kung paano magtrabaho yung mga magsasaka, hindi na halos natutulog at hanggang gabi yung gano'n na pagod yung katawan na walang tinitingala o walang nakikitang kinabukasan o hinaharap. Napakasakit nito at yung henerasyon ng magsasaka sa susunod na panahon, hindi natin nakikitang dadami yan. Pag namatay o nawala itong henerasyon na to, nakakakaba dahil may susunod bang henerasyon ng mga magsasaka kung magpapatuloy yung ganitong sitwasyon nila. Nakikita ko yung efforts dun sa mga iba't ibang agencies kasi farmer partner kami ng CLSU. At marami yung mga programang aming ginagawa ngayon. Subalit, siguro doon sa second question ko nasasagutin yon yung ano bang pwedeng gawin para nang sa ganun ay makatugon tayo ng tunay. Kasi parang hindi nararamdaman talaga sa level dito sa baba yung mga efforts na nakikita natin. Siguro may ilan, no? Kaya lang, kung magre-reach out doon sa mas maraming magsasaka, makikita natin na talagang scattered at scattered ang resources, scattered halos lahat. Kaya hindi maramdaman talaga yung impact kung may impact man. Sige, hanggang dito muna. Sa susunod na lang mamaya.
Thank you, Ma'am Evelyn. Ma'am, I think for those who are really true in pushing agriculture development in the country, you left us teary-eyed and with a pinch in our hearts, ma'am. Okay, for the next response is we have Mr. Miguel Gomez, the president of Bauer Tech Pharmaceuticals.
Hello, thank you very much. We really appreciate the invitation from CLSU and all our partnerships. We are also congratulating you for 60th universityhood. Now, to start, of course, so for sustainable farming, it's very easy and it's very tempting for a pharmaceutical company. In our context, we make food supplements from, we also make it from herbs and extracts of plants. So it's very tempting for a pharmaceutical company or any company to do cheap methods that will just take advantage of the farmers and the community to maximize profits. That's very tempting. However, in order to do sustainable farming, we need the we need to do methods not just have sustainable farming methods, but we need to think about the community and our partnerships. So in this case, industry should be involved with the community and also the local government units, and even in this case, the academe. Why? Because even if all you think about is the profits, it doesn't matter if the community is starving, if the community is unable to do farming or unable to do independent farming. What we want to see is that the community, together with industry, should share what they both have. The community have the knowledge from the ground up. Industry has the equipment, the capital to buy what they need. We need to make sure that for sustainable farming, that it's not just the industry itself would hit all the standards that are listed internationally, but the community itself should be sustainable, meaning that what they sell can feed their families, what they grow can support themselves, rather than seeing the farmers disappear. Other countries can do that. Farmers are able to sustain themselves, even though they don't work for large corporations. So when community is involved, when government agencies are involved, and when it's working together with industry, I believe that it is also a very important part of sustainable farming. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. For another ground perspective, we have our student representative, Ms. Danica Grace Claudio.
So good morning to everyone po, to our esteemed guests, our faculties and students. I just wanted to add that I am very inspired by Miss Evelyn's answer. As an agriculture student, gusto ko lang po sabihin na pinakikinggan ko po kayo, gaya ng mga farmer na na-interview na namin at na-witness ang pagbuha. So to answer the question po, I just wanted to share one of my journeys of being an agriculture student. So in one of our subjects, we were required to conduct a research for a month. That time, our landlord owns Carabaos, where it is housed just behind our boarding house. Every morning, they made sure that the cages are clean, but the smell is very pervasive. Also, the animal waste was stored in a way that risked contaminating the soil and water sources. This situation inspired my research project of using Carabao dung as briquettes. The greatest challenge of that time was formulating an idea about sustainability with the little budget we have while also prioritizing a user-friendly approach. Currently, it remains a dilemma for me, and I think what causes this is the students' lack of early exposure in sustainable farming that allows us to build a stronger foundation of knowledge where we appreciate and see its significance. That is why I'm grateful and honored to be part of this event where we can share our opinions and experiences despite our titles. As a student, I feel heard and seen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Danica, for sharing your thoughts with us. Now we're moving to our second question for our second batch of panelists. The second question is, so what role do you think stakeholders should play in promoting sustainable agricultural practices? After giving your answer on the challenges now, this is the time to suggest the roles that you can play in promoting sustainable agricultural practices. So let me call on again Sir Joseph Arlan Fajardo. All right, kindly assist Sir Joseph to unmute himself. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Am I-
sir.
Okay, so to answer the next question on the stakeholders' role, no, to address the difficulties in terms of farming sustainability, I guess as a private sector, uh, we can do a lot, no, but there's one model that I suggest, and I would encourage other private sectors to adopt in terms of our participation in the development of the rice industry, and that is adopting a more socio-economic approach to all our endeavors, no. So we would want to encourage other private companies to adopt uh, the three areas, no, we have our program, actually we call it Rice to Rice program, in which we anchor the program into three areas of development, no. Number one is collaboration or organizing the farmers, no. Second is clustering, no. Number one is clustering, organizing our farmers, no, because as industrial commodity, yung rice, I think clustering and organization, industrialization, no, scaling up is very important. The next is collaboration with other key stakeholders, no, the financing, the marketing side, the rice millers, and everything. And thirdly, it should be vertical integration, no. So we have to adopt a whole of value chain approach into developing the rice industry, no. So while most of us would always hear about the helping the farmers increase their productivity and everything, we should remember that there's the other end of the value chain, no, more on the business side, especially the rice millers, the aggregators, no, the retailers, no. So we have to address it in a way that the farmer, no, while the anchor should be the farmers, the program should be enable the farmer, no, na talagang from seeds up to marketing, talagang matutulungan sila. And to do that, we really have to empower also some of the key stakeholders like the rice millers, the aggregators, and the ano. That means, and if you look at this side of the value chain, they are represented more of the private sector. So empowering the private sectors to level playing fields, a more conducive environment for investment would really help a lot, no? So and for the academe, I guess to me, no, what I would suggest is that we have to develop a change, help yung change in the paradigm, no, such that our students would be taking up agriculture not for the purpose of being employed in multinationals, but rather be practitioners, no. So we have to yung agripreneur or how do you call that? Agribusiness, no. So those are the things na I think would be very important, no. And then of course the approach to education, no, knowledge building. I guess we have to adopt an assimilative approach into education. No? So we saw na the traditional way of educating the farmers, like the seminar training, formal seminar and training, would not be very effective at all, no. It should be assimilative, it should be interactive, and a real application, no, on the ground. And it would take for us na dapat persistence is the key. So yung natuto sila and then iniwan mo, that would not be effective. We have to be with them all throughout, or maybe extended period. But the point is, the end in mind should be, let them assimilate the different knowledge and techniques that we are teaching them. So that's on my part. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Joseph. Now let me call back Ma'am Evelyn Serrano, please.
Thank you. Tutuloy ko na yung sinasabi ko kanina kasi parang ako, I don't really want to sound pessimistic about this. Kaya lang, yun nga, yung pag nandito sa mga ganitong conference, medyo mataas yung pinag-uusapan tungkol sa sustainability. Pero ang point ko dito, if you're coming from the ground, gusto ko yung sinuggest kanina, yung nagsalita bago ako na sana may budget din sa mga extension workers, sa mga community organizers, sa community development workers, kasi sila mismo yung nakikipagsalamuha dun sa mga magsasaka, sila yung link ng agency dun sa mga magsasaka, at we always talk about empowerment, pero how do we empower yung ganun? Yung mag-meeting ka lang tapos iiwan mo na, bibigyan mo ng funding tapos iiwan mo na, yung mga ganon. So, it will not work and it did not work in the long run ng mga nakaraang panahon. Kaya ako, saludo ko sa CLSU kasi talagang may mga extension workers na nagbababad dun sa area para tingnan talaga kung na na nakukuha ba ng mga tao yung mga binababang mga teknolohiya at na-apply ba ito sa pang-araw-araw, yung mga ganun. Kaya ang appeal ko dito, sana magkaroon ng more coordination, more effective coordination, cooperation, yung lahat ng mga agencies na bumababa sa mga komunidad. Kasi ang karanasan namin, lalo na kung pareho rin yung mga focal points sa mga communities, lalong natutuliro yung mga magsasaka kasi tatawag ng meeting yung ganito, tatawag ng meeting yung ganyan, yung ganitong agency. Halos hindi na sila makapagsaka dahil araw-araw may meeting, yung iba't ibang mga ahensya na nire-require silang mag-attend bago makapagbigay ng ayuda, yung mga ganon. So, kung pwede sanang merong lead agency, siguro maybe NEDA can play that role na ma-coordinate yung lahat ng efforts, yung lahat ng resources para hindi sila scattered. At para makita rin talaga yung impact doon sa community, sa mga magsasaka, sa households. Kasi yung experience ko doon sa mga nagmo-monitor at yung mga nag-evaluate, yung ganon, hindi talaga nasusukat yung tunay na impact dahil nga parang ano lang, sausaw-sausaw yung mga pumupunta sa community at talagang hindi nakikita yung tunay na kalagayan at sitwasyon. So if we are going to talk about sustainability na long-term at tuloy-tuloy at talagang makikita natin may impact sa bawat isang magsasaka at sa kanilang mga pamilya, sa mga komunidad, siguro maseryosohin natin yung hindi lang sa usapin ng budget na iaalat, kundi sa mga taong ibibigay para tumulong sa mga komunidad, para ma-empower sila. At ako, naniniguro ako na kapag na-empower yung community, we can take care of ourselves. Yun lang siguro.
Thank you, Ma'am Evelyn, for leaving a very positive note. Now, let me call back Sir Rigel Gomez from Bauer Tech.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the answers of the first two panelists, as they gave a very good and detailed analysis of what the stakeholders should do. To add on to that, from the industry side, we shouldn't also think of the explicit costs only. We should also consider the implicit costs of said farming to the community. It's very easy to hit quotas. The question is, will it damage the land? Will it damage the health of the farmers? Will it damage the community? That's one thing. So for the private side, for the stakeholders, we should consider all forms of costs. At the same time, we also hope that it will be easier, that there are less barriers of opportunity when it comes to investing in the community and working with the LGUs. Our partnership with CLSU is very good in the sense that they really erased almost all the barriers to entry for partnerships, and we appreciate that. It's very hard to enter other communities unless we have a strong partnership like with CLSU. Now, of course, we also hope that between the farmer and the industry, that both sides have a shared vision and a shared goal. If you want to cooperate and get, for example, the herbs that we want, let's say curcumin from turmeric, we have to ensure that the community understands what we want. Meaning, for example, we want this particular variety and we need to grow this particular variety. We will help give them training, which is where the academe and the LGUs or government agencies come in. We hope that, for example, as the industry, we'd like to partner with the academe so that they provide the knowledge, the skills to train the local community. So communication between the stakeholders is key, because if we have a target and we hope that they achieve the target so that we could sell the things that they produce. There has to be communication between all sides, cooperation, communication, and also a drive that everyone understands what's our common goal. We want to get these products sold. We want to help the farmers earn money. We want the academe to share their experience to the people. We want the local government units to say that, hey, we help the community. So we want everyone to be happy. We want everyone to achieve the goals. So I think the most important part of the stakeholders is everyone should see the common goal and cooperate. Don't just think of themselves, but they have to think about what does everyone need, what does everyone want, and let's try to meet halfway. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Regal. All right. The last for this batch, Miss Danica again, please.
So I share the same opinion po with Miss Evelyn for the past years of being an agriculture student. We've been exposed to farmers' life by conducting an interview para marinig po ang current problems at hinaing nila. I have observed and formed an opinion that when there's a new technology introduced in farming, I believe that the farmers should be the forefront of implementing these technologies. However, I understand that it is hard to try new things when you already craft a solution that existed for years and that supports a lot of families. In addition, we must also recognize that not all farmers can afford these technologies, and many may find new methods of agricultural approach difficult to understand. Especially as the average age of farmers is in their 50s, farmers shouldn't feel isolated. This highlights the need for a careful and a more inclusive approach to technological adoption in agriculture. Therefore, government should intervene, providing full assistance, from guidance to financial if possible, to intensive planning and execution, which avoids shortages and oversupply. In exchange, farmers should do their part by slowly adopting changes to improve their production. While I am not an expert, I strongly believe in the need to strengthen more the collaboration and network of communications between the government and other stakeholders for achieving a sustainable farming approach. Hindi lamang para sa iilan, ngunit sa pangkalahatan. As the saying goes, it takes two to tango. Mabuhay at masaganang Pilipinas po sa ating lahat.
Thank you, Miss Danica. So that wraps up our second batch of panelists. Let me go back first to our program host, Miss Kim, and I'll be returning later for the synthesis of our keynote speech and panel discussion. Thank you once again to the first and second batch of our panelists.
Thank you so much, Dr. Franz Mariel, Nogoy Garcia, and to all our panelists for enlightening us with your truly valuable insights. You know, it certainly gave us a much wider perspective and a much deeper understanding of the sustainable agriculture in the Philippines. Patuloy po nawa tayo magtulong-tulong para sa matatag, maginhawa at panatag na buhay. And now to award a certificate of appreciation, please allow me to read the citation. This certificate of appreciation is given to Dr. John C. De Leon, Dr. Liza G. Batad, Director Wilfredo M. Cruz, Dr. Nelson C. Santiago, Mr. Joseph Arlan C. Fajardo, Ms. Evelyn B. Serrano, Mr. Rigel Gomez, and Ms. Danica Grace M. Claudio for serving as panelists during the Sustainability Summit on Agriculture with the theme Charting the Path for Sustainable Agriculture in the Philippines, held in celebration of CLSU's 60 years of universityhood, given the 17th day of June 2024 at the Central Luzon State University, Science City of Muñoz and Nueva Ecija. Signed, Dr. Evaristo A. Abella, University President. How about a round of applause for our panelists? All right, once again, I request the technical team to facilitate the photo documentation with our panelists. may I request all our panelists from our R&D directors to our second batch of panelists to open their cameras for the photo documentation. And of course, together with Director Nerissa Isguera, Ms. Franz Garcia Nogoy, and Dr. Evaristo A. Abella. Please join us in this photo opportunity. And of course, together with our university officials. All right, we'll be taking a photo. Hold your smiles. In 3, 2, 1. All right. And another one. All right. Thank you so much once again. Now, if our other participants could also open their cameras, we would love to have you in another photo. Please join us, everyone, in our photo. So once again, the technical team will facilitate our photo op. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, for our next slide. All right. All right, there you have it. Thank you so much once again. And for the certificate of participation of our attendees, kindly answer the attendance and evaluation form through this QR code that we will flash in your screen. The link will also be provided in the Zoom chat box and the Facebook comment box. So your certificates will be issued 2 days after you answer the evaluation form, and this will be posted in the CLSU University Extension Program Office Facebook page. All right. So here's the QR code. Kindly scan it. We will also be providing it in the Zoom chat box and our Facebook chat box. So just a few more announcements. Sure. So as we are all aware today, CLSU will be celebrating its 60th universityhood with the theme, The Birth of a University, the Birth of a Leader. So just a quick advertising the program of activities. So we are currently holding the Sustainability Summit in Agriculture. So later today, we'll be holding the BOR meeting and the President's Night. And tomorrow, we'll be having a motorcade at 7:30 a.m. So our route will follow CLSU to the city proper, to Phil Rice, down to PCC and back to CLSU. We will also be launching the Futures Thinking products at 8 a.m. at the CLSU auditorium, followed by the investiture rites also at the auditorium at 9 a.m. And then to be followed by the Pagtanaw sa Nakaraan, Pagsilay sa Kinabukasan at the old PAO building. And then to be followed by the inaugural community night at the CLSU Multi-Purpose Gym. So before we proceed to the synthesis of our program, let us all watch this video. Thank you.
Central Luzon State University, through the years, has grown into a comprehensive and inclusive higher education institution that transforms the mind and improves the quality of life of peoples and communities it serves. From its humble beginning as an agricultural school, with its vast land resources, CLSU offers a conducive environment for learning, research and production catering the needs of students, faculty, staff, researchers and other stakeholders. For more than 100 years, agriculture has remained the flagship program of CLSU, keeping a multidisciplinary approach through the complementation of the different curricular programs it offers, including arts, social sciences, business management, and other allied fields. CLSU is also recognized as an agritourism site in Luzon, featuring the different R&D centers that specializes in precision agriculture, livestock, crops and fisheries. These research centers support, strengthen and sustain the thrusts of the university's academic program. CLSU being strategically located at the heart of the Muñoz science community, it has access to national R&D institutions bringing in additional resources, facilities and experts, which further amplifies the research initiatives of the university. CLSU today stands proud as one of the renowned and prestigious universities in the Philippines and Southeast Asia, and is positioning itself in the global community. CLSU, keeping agriculture as a way of life.
Maraming salamat po. At yun nga po ang nabanggit ni Director Luisa Esguerra na ang ating mga panelists ay nagbahagi po ng mga thought-provoking and helpful comments and ideas. At banggitin din po natin ang naging komento ni Dr. John De Leon na ang mga usapin po ng sustainable agriculture and sustainable food security ay kasama po ang lahat, tayong lahat, upang higit po nating maramdaman ang pagkilos ng bawat ahensya at gayon din po ng iba pang ating mga stakeholders. Alright, moving forward, may I call on again Dr. Nogue Garcia for the synthesis.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kim. All right, for the synthesis of our Sustainability Summit on charting the path for sustainable agriculture in the Philippines, we are very grateful to have Director Nerissa Esguerra to present to us the current agricultural landscape in the Philippines, where she emphasized the Philippine Development Plan and Central Luzon Regional Development Plan for 2023 to 2028, wherein the focus is enriching the agricultural sector. Having presented various programs that are already in place. And SUCs like CLSU has an important role to these programs. The ambition natin 2040 indeed with the goal to have a matatag, maginhawa, and banatag Filipino community have been set with the 6 planning parameters. And in focus of Director Nerissa's speech in Central Luzon, the vision is to have a vibrant agri-industrial heartland, emphasizing in reducing vulnerabilities and protecting purchasing power. Moreover, modernizing agriculture and agribusiness. And the projects and programs that have been presented involves increasing onion storage, the Fish Core Project, the Pang-Agraryong Tulay or building bridges, and it also includes the Central Luzon Integrated Agricultural Soils Laboratory. Director Nerissa also emphasized the proposal of NIA to have a 13.55 billion budget for the irrigation facilities and the Philippine Coconut Authority with a 35.21 million budget proposal. Director Nerissa have presented an excerpt from Pingali 2020 regarding the limitations of green revolution that spurs sustaining agriculture. She presented 4 points on environmental impact, social inequality, nutritional outcomes, and sustainability concerns. So with all these limitations, there has been a second green revolution recommendations. giving points on inclusive growth, environmental stewardship, nutritional security using diverse crops, innovation and technology, climate change adaptation, and of course, market access. Director Nerissa have uh, presented some challenges with regards to sustainable agriculture, especially on sufficient food supply and generating more quality jobs. And she proposed or she presented that from R&D to M&E, having a monitoring and evaluation to create an impact in the agricultural sector. And again, emphasizing that SUCs like CLSU have an important role in monitoring and evaluation these impacts created by our projects and programs. And NEDA have been very active in promoting impact evaluation studies. And our second part of the summit, we have the panel discussion where we were joined by representatives from R&D centers and our other stakeholders like students, farmers, and the industry. So for their thoughts and reactions, PhilRice, PCC, BIFAR, and PhilMec all agree that their projects and programs are in line with the NEDA's efforts. Specifically, PhilRice have been contributing efforts, sustainability, not only in the Philippines, but in the whole world. And promoting farming, not just for production, but also as a business. And this is where PCC also agrees with their project on caraprenneurship, like the Milka Creme, and their dairy box business model. For BIFAR and PhilMec, they have presented their projects and efforts on digitization and modernization, as well as post-harvest facilities and climate change adaptation. Moving forward, on the second point on collaboration efforts to adopt sustainable farming, PhilRice director have emphasized on translating theories into actions. Like, do we put funds where our mouths are? And he also emphasized on the small and large farmers to work together. And this is where clustering comes into place. And PCC also emphasized on the unified efforts with regards to monitoring and evaluation of the impacts that their projects have been doing. For BIFAR, they also emphasize that they are active in clustering among fisher folks. And for our panelists from industry, farmers, and students, they have presented the difficulties that they are meeting in achieving sustainable farming. First in the list is climate change, infrastructure, climate forecasting, economic viability for investing. A difficult perspective from the ground is having perennial problems like having increased prices of goods, inputs, and high importation. Let me quote what Ma'am Evelyn have said regarding the difficulties. She emphasized on may susunod pa bang henerasyon ng magsasaka? Given that the farmers of agriculture these days are not young anymore. So in terms of the pharmaceuticals industry, they have been presenting on having a sustainable community, not only for the industry. And students are expressing their oneness with farmers. In terms of roles in sustainable agriculture, we have collaboration or clustering, helping all key stakeholders to be part of the value chain, or helping not only in production, but helping in all process of the value chain, empowering the private investors. And for SUCs, it was suggested to have the change in the paradigm of students, to be practitioners and to have an assimilative approach in teaching our students. It was also mentioned for the roles in sustainable agriculture, a budget for extension workers, effective coordination of agencies, and to be serious on human resources, to empower the communities and create strong partnerships, to have a shared vision and goals of agencies and the community to cooperate. Lastly, for the roles, students are in one in promoting collaboration and network of communication among agencies and practitioners in the field of agriculture. Lastly, for this, it is very important to chart the path towards sustainable agriculture. More than what we talk about this morning, we are encouraged to take action and support sustainable practices in the Philippines and contributing to our world. NEDA Director Nerissa have challenged us to doable and viable solutions in sustainable agriculture in the country. And this should have a long-term effects from the projects and programs that the R&D centers, SUCs, and other stakeholders are being implemented. So with that, let's have a sustainable agriculture, not only for SUCs, but for all R&D centers and other stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nogoy Garcia, for moderating such an engaging event and discussion. So at this juncture, let us award the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Nogoy Garcia. Allow me to read the citation. The Certificate of Appreciation is given to Dr. Franz Mariel N. Garcia for serving as the moderator during the Sustainability Summit with the theme Charting the Path for Sustainable Agriculture in the Philippines, held in celebration of the CLSU's 60 years of universityhood, given this 17th day of June 2024 at the Central Luzon State University, Science City of Muñoz, Nueva Ecija. Signed, Dr. Evaristo A. Abella, University President. How about a round of applause also for Dr. Franz Mariel Nogoy Garcia? All right, as we near the conclusion of our summit, I would like to call on Dr. Edgar Ayerden, our Visionary Vice President for Research and Extension, for the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kim. Sa inyo pong lahat, magandang umagang muli. Of course, to our keynote speaker, the Honorable Nerissa T. Isguera, ma'am. At sa mga panelists, hindi ko na ho kayo isa-isahin. And of course, to our beloved University President and CLSU officials, participants on this summit, magandang umaga muli sa inyong lahat. And we are now in the concluding part of this Sustainability Summit on Agriculture. But I think we have to look into 3 takeaways as mentioned by our keynote speaker. First is that let us always consider that the Philippine Development Plan and what we are doing in the different branches of the government is aligned into this regional as well as national level. We always look into the goal, the vision, which is creating a society that is matatag, maginhawa, at panatag na pamumuhay sa ating lahat. Second, we can only achieve this, as emphasized by our keynote speaker, the importance of agriculture. And we have to enrich the agricultural sector. We have to produce more food for our people. And with this, we will be creating more jobs. To the issue of sufficient and sustainable food supply, I think it is the production sectors who should do this.
They have to create more jobs and come up with quality and competitive agricultural products. And she mentioned about the difference between the 20th century agricultural development as well as the 21st century. Ano po ang pagkakaiba nito? Ang pagkakaiba nila ay yung 21st ay the whole value chain was considered. Doon po sa una, we have very limited challenges. But now, in the 21st century, we have more challenges. And these are the things that we have to address. And third, the final one, she emphasized about the research and development, which she said it is crucial. And make sure that all of these different programs, projects, should be translated into a viable one. At dito po, sinasabi natin, lahat ng proyektong ginagawa natin ay dapat technology-based. At ito ay nagtatapos sa isang enterprise. Enterprise which at the end will be going into the market. And in order to do this, the human resources is very critical. Binigyan po ito ng diin ng ating pong isang progressive farmer at sinabi niya, kailangan natin ng marami pang extension worker. So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, the role of the state universities and colleges and other research institutions in this region alone is very critical to make a sustainable agricultural sectors. With that, again, we would like to thank each and everyone, to the keynote speaker, to the different panelists, to all of you who attended this summit. Magandang umaga muli at maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo ngayong sa ating pong summit na ito.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arden, for that closing remarks and for sharing as well your insights regarding our discussion today. So, on behalf of Central Luzon State University, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our keynote speaker, panelists, participants, and viewers for making this event a success. Together, let us continue to chart the path for sustainable agriculture in the Philippines. Before we end this program, let us all watch a short video clip to be followed by the singing of the CLSU hymn. This has been Kimberly Mata. Happy 60th Universityhood CLSU. Thank you.
Magsensya sa agrikultura.
Good day, everyone. We would like to welcome you all here in Saliksikan, one of the sites here in Kamalig. I am Liana.
And I'm John Prince. We are your Saliksikan tour guide na nagsabing sa paggamit ng makabagong teknolohiya, may ani ka na, may kita ka pa.
ang pagdating dito sa lambat.
Layong angatin ang mga mangisda base sa Aqua Teknolohiya.
Kaya naman mga kalambat, ako nga pala si Dominic.
At ako naman si Jamel, ang inyong lambat tour guide na nagsasabing, sa Aqua Teknolohiya, angat ka! Good day, everyone!
I am Jean Marian.
I am Bernadette Ann. Welcome to Salakot! Sa kahang layong ipakita ang modernong teknolohiya.
Good day, everyone. I am JC Hart. And I am Daniela. Welcome to Agri Tahanan. Agri Tahanan is managed by the University Extension Center, and they believe that the family is the primary stakeholder of agri-technologies. Sa Agri Tahanan, tayo ay mamumuhunan. At sa Agri Tahanan, lahat tayo ay magkakaroon ng pangkabuhayan. Good day, everyone! Welcome to Tumana. I am Gian.
I'm Neil.
I'm Elshil. And we are your tour guides na nagsasabing, Don't panic, it's organic! Hello! Good morning, everyone! I am Kiana May Formentara Sinuto. And I am Gloria Marie Kaila P. Aves. And we are your tour guide for today na nagsasabing angat ka sa teknolohiya ang pagsikat. Again, welcome to Pinita!
Good day, everyone! Welcome to our station, The Pulot, Pukyutan. My name is Hannah, your tour guide na nagsasabing, always be happy!
Good day, everyone. I am Gwyneth.
And I'm John Michael. We are your Coral Tour Guide na nagsasabing, investing in kambing ang sagot sa kahirapan.
Once again, thank you everyone and have a great day.